Hello friends, this is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com. Today I want to talk to you about how you can improve your method of speaking with only a few minor changes that you'll need to make. That's all. Your elocution is very important. The manner of speech, the way you present things, the words you use are very important. They could be the difference between you being perceived as somebody with knowledge and of substance, or somebody doesn't know what they're talking about. Somebody is not sure about what they're talking about. It can also make you seem like you're being deceptive if you use certain phraseology and certain verbal crutches. They'll literally keep you from being perceived as being honest. For example, like. People say like a lot. That comes across as immature, as childish. It's not just associated with women, although it tends to be that kind of valley girl speech. It's been associated with that. But men and women alike do it, and it generally tends to be younger. But what you often see with young men is as they are growing up, getting into adulthood, they generally get these things corrected. And unfortunately, many times, young women do not get these things corrected. It is almost seen as cute. Oh, it's cute because it seems childish. And so they're not given the same kind of lessons. Stop using like. Stop saying this, stop saying and unfortunately it continues on into adulthood, and it can affect someone's presentation and how they are perceived, even if the words they're saying have importance. If you're saying like in every like word, like in a sentence, like, it makes you sound like a moron. Really, it makes you sound more childish than adult, and it can be seen as cute when a fourth grader is saying it. But when you're an adult, it doesn't sound so cute. It makes you sound unintelligent. And you might be very intelligent, but this is something you've just kind of adopted and you use in your speech. It needs to be corrected. Something else that needs to be corrected is using words you don't understand. I don't know how many times I've seen people they get a dictionary, they use a bigger word than normal. I say bigger only in the sense that it's not a common word. They think they're going to somehow sound more intelligent, and they use it incorrectly and wind up sounding less intelligent than if they just used a normal word that people use in normal speech. The purpose of your communicating is to get a point across, to make points, to be understood. Throwing in words you don't understand fully, or maybe even your listener may not understand, is not going to help anything. You're trying to have people understand you, so adding words in that you don't understand and that your hearers may not understand is not going to help you at all. Now, in speech amongst your friends, more casual, laid-back speech, some of these things don't matter. But I'm talking about in presentations. If you're in a business meeting, you need to sound on the ball, that everything is going right with you and you know what you're talking about. You are informed, intelligent, and capable of getting your point across. One of the most common problems is people saying So they're in the middle of speech and they're kind of losing what they're going to say, or they're just talking and they say, well, and we went to the store and, that makes you sound unsure. You may be searching for words to speak, and that's fine. But here's what you do, and work on this, because this can be really easily corrected. Just do an actual pause, no words, when you're going to say when you feel that coming on, because then you'll at least sound like you're thinking. And it also makes you sound like you're being honest, because it makes you look more thoughtful, like you're thinking of the word, you're thinking of what you're saying. Where makes you sound like you're trying to lie, or it makes you sound like you're unsure of what you're saying or unsure of your own abilities. It can be perceived differently depending on the individual listening to it, but whatever it is, it's not going to be perceived well. Repeatedly makes you sound unsure, that you're not confident in what you're saying, or you're not confident in the truthfulness of what you're saying. And it may be perfectly true, but you make yourself sound untrustworthy when you use repeatedly. Now, these are basic things. Obviously, there are many other things you can do. In less formal situations, these things don't matter as much. But like I said with the thing, that can be something that can make you seem untrustworthy when you're using it in a more casual situation too, because it seems like you don't really believe what you're saying, or what you're saying is something you're having to make up as you go. That's not going to help you in business. That's not going to help you in life. You need to be somebody that presents something believable, that you believe, that you're informed on. And here's something very important too. If you're not informed on something, don't speak on it. This is one of the biggest problems people have. Even if they get all these verbal crutches out of the way, they're not saying they're not saying like, they're not using words they don't understand. They don't understand the subject they're speaking on. That is something you need to avoid right there. Why put yourself out there with things you don't understand or don't fully understand? There's no point in that. You don't make yourself look better. You make yourself look uninformed. You make yourself look like you're somebody that doesn't care enough to be informed about a situation or a subject or whatever the case may be. Now, you may think winging it, just going up there with no notes or whatever is good, and that works for many people. I never use any notes for anything, but I spend a lot of time being informed about whatever I'm speaking on. So I don't need notes. You should get to the point where you don't need notes. Now you can bring them in case it might help you, might jog your memory. That's fine. But if you're having to read notes, nobody likes listening to somebody read. And that's going to be the last point I want to make. Reading a speech is dull, boring, and unbelievable. People don't trust that. They can hear it and it's dull and it sounds like a robot and pre-programmed. Even if you're good at it, it doesn't sound as believable as just speaking from your heart, just speaking off the cuff. That sounds so much better than reading something word for word. It's dull and boring. Now, if you just can't get your words right, when you start speaking, you start jumbling up your words. That happens with anybody. Some people are just great at it, but anybody has little things where you say the wrong thing, you drop a word here and there, or mispronounce them. That's fine. But if you really have serious problems with it and it's affecting your communication, then write the speech out, memorize it, practice it, and have variations in it. So you can change and tweak and maneuver so it doesn't sound like some rehearsed script. Because that rehearsed script sounds poor, it doesn't sound good, it doesn't sound like you are really confident about what you're doing. It sounds like for all they know, you could be reading somebody else's speech. It doesn't sound believable. And it poorly gets your point across. People will be bored listening to somebody reading from a script. And if you're just repeating a memorized script, it doesn't sound the same way. And the energy is different about how it's being presented. It's not as believable and not as trustworthy. So my friends, I hope this has been a blessing for you. And this will help you really adapt and change and improve your speech in business and more professional situations. And in unprofessional situations, regular situations, informal situations, friends and family and stuff like that, it doesn't matter as much, obviously, but you still want to be perceived as somebody that can be trusted, somebody that is knowledgeable about the information they're presenting, and somebody that has a good command of the English language or whatever language you may speak. That is an important asset you have in business. If you sound like somebody who is educated, you don't have to go to college for 50 years. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Just sound like somebody that's educated and knows a subject. When you know a subject, when you truly know it down in your heart and you're confident in your knowledge of it, you'll be able to present that information in a much better way. And it will be a blessing to many people. And they will trust you more that you have knowledge, that you're someone of authority in this issue because of the way you present yourself, the way you come across. This is very valuable. This can't necessarily be taught. It's something you got to practice. And if you haven't had people in your life as you were growing up to kind of correct you and help you along with this, then now is the time to correct it in yourself. You can't blame other people. You have to take responsibility for your own choices, your own actions, and how you can now fix this to become a better speaker and a better individual in presenting what you're saying. The answer is not to get a dictionary and start quoting words you don't understand fully or that other people aren't even going to understand. The point in communicating is to have people understand what you're saying and to have them believe what you're saying is true, believe that you know what you're saying. These are all things that can be corrected and made better, changing a few of these little things. So I hope this has been a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.